We missed you, we missed you.
Hello there. The covers from our listeners, the ones we didn't talk about before, the unsuspecting victims of poor playlist production. We can forget that we fucked up if you want. Yeah, you'll be on Cover Me, and we will see if you hit on this episode. We wish to make amends. We wish to make amends.
We missed you, we missed you. We missed you, we missed you.
Where were you? These hit and bangers I cannot find from my playlist in time. My research lets me down always. This tweet from our fans links a new song, alerts me of my crime. And looking back, I counted the amateur musicians taking songs and making them sound sad. I see acoustic guitars, dude, and hear those damn pianos. But these new covers, at least just be alright. Please just be alright. Go back in time and we'll all listen to the Cover Me backlog.
We missed you, we missed
Go back in time and we'll all listen to the Cover Me backlog.
We missed you, we missed you.
That's right. It's Cover Me, the only podcast that compares famous songs to their many cover versions to find out which one is the best version. But sometimes we screw up, and that's why we're doing a backlog episode. I am your host, as always, the Snake, joined by my backing co-host,
Alex Mildenberger.
Alex Mildenberger. We just sang a song. Well, I did most of the singing, and it was Blink-182 style singing, so singing is a loose term.
Yeah, just turn up the compression on that and we should be fine, right? That's all it takes.
Fine. Alex, how'd you feel about that?
I didn't do a whole lot. It was a little off time for me because we're not synced up perfectly, so it's a bit weird, and you came in like slightly unexpected,
Right.
which, I don't know, made me giggle just because there's a mismatch, but I thought it worked.
Perfect. Great. And unwittingly relevant because Blink-182 just announced their big reunion tour.
Yeah, did they put out a single?
They did, called Edging.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it.
I did. It sounds like Blink-182.
Oh, that's good.
And it is, of course, another like Ticketmaster crisis. Same thing that happened with Bruce Springsteen, where tickets are just they're doing their dynamic pricing thing.
Yeah, Blink-182 for me is not
On the same level as Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, not a bucket list thing. Like, you know.
Yeah, I've heard they're not a great live band anyway.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
I guess I
I
could
think
believe that.
Tom DeLonge's vocals are not what they were in the 1990s. I imagine Travis Barker's still on point, unless he's starting to suffer hardcore drummer disease, you know?
As they tend to, for putting their bodies through hell continuously.
Yeah. They're a show where if the opportunity arose and it didn't cost $500, I might do it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping that something would change and Live Nation / Ticketmaster would chill out a bit, but I don't know if that's... I don't know. We got to figure out what the next thing is, and it might just be not going to these big concerts anymore.
Yeah, I think we're returning to the underground. Everything's getting highly corporate.
Which, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with. I've just got to get my underground legs on me, you know? Get my my miner's gear out and get in there.
Yeah, I definitely don't have visibility in there, but, like, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
No, it wouldn't be the worst thing to feel around, see what you can find. But speaking of, digging things up, the past, Alex... one of the biggest remarks we get on this show is, not surprisingly, why didn't you guys talk about this version? How could you miss out on this song? It's like, We're banging these out every week, and our production on playlists is pretty slapdash at the best of times, is the honest answer.
That is the honest answer. That's the truth. And sometimes, like, the different artists don't necessarily mean that much to us. Like, we don't know much about them. So maybe there's a artist that's significant to you that we didn't talk about. And we would like to talk about it, so I'm glad we got these suggestions for alternate versions. But like an artist that would not pique our interest at all, and someone else is like, "But that's my favorite," or whatever.
Yeah, it's my favorite, and so yeah, it is like we've put ourselves in another scenario. There's another reason this is the worst podcast idea ever. One, nobody likes covers. Two, nobody likes the covers we're talking about. They all have their idea of what should be on the show. But I think this episode concept is a great way to work around that issue.
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so. Alex, how did it feel going back, kind of taking a trip down memory lane?
I mean, I like all these songs, so it was cool to listen to them some more. You
Absolutely.
know, and like maybe I'm showing my hand early, but like people didn't suggest bad version or unenjoyable versions. You know?
Yeah, I think there's something to love in all of these versions. Some I like a lot more than others. But we will get into that. Alex, and while we're doing a looking back episode where we're kind of making amends, any Cover Me regrets, anything not related to talking about these songs we're talking about today that you'd like to set the record straight on?
like things I said that I regret?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't remember what I said.
This
honestly.
isn't a gotcha moment. I don't have like weird statements
But
to
you
bring
did
up.
say this about the... I'm sorry.
So you still stand by this. You're like, oh, fuck.
Yes, I'm really... at this point, I've really just soured on Nazism. I don't know. I just... something
Finally.
changed. Yeah. I mean, whenever you're putting these lists together, there's so many we have to cut because we just can't do them all. We don't have the time.
For sure.
You know? And that always sucks, especially when you're like, I really want to do this one or like one of these two, but really I'm doing this one. So like, I don't want to have all these ones, or some where it's like, it would be interesting to have it, but it's 7 minutes long. I don't really want to, like, I don't have the energy for that this week or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes we have to kill, I think, versions we would really like to talk about. I took Patti Smith off the Pastime Paradise one a few weeks back because I was like, we just don't have, like, there's not enough of an angle here, and there's not any real reason to talk about it beyond me liking Patti Smith. So sometimes you take out the version you love the most.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you try to keep big names in, or I do, just because I'm like, oh, Don Henley did this or whatever, but it's like, it's not really interesting to talk about.
Yeah,
so,
Don Henley did this live at some casino, and you're like, oh, it sounds about as improvised as that.
Yeah. So it just doesn't always work out. But, I mean, probably most of these didn't come up. Like, I don't recognize most of these. Maybe one or two, but...
I recognize, I think, just the first one we're going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, there's no need to mince words here. Let's get into it. So we're starting with what was suggested to us by Ruby Swan. Follow her on YouTube to see her music, listen to it. This is Get What You Give, originally by the New Radicals. This is by Felix Cartal in the year of our Lord, 2017.
You've got the music in you. Don't let go. You've got the music in you. One dance left. This world is gonna pull through. Don't give up. You've got a reason to live.
Yeah, and like, I don't want to put too much emphasis on something that doesn't matter. But
Please.
they took the first U out of the title.
That's right, they did.
Just get what you give. Not you get what you give.
It is just get what you give.
Just
you know
get
what?
some is
It's
what...
a real Facebook move. Makes it cleaner.
Facebook move?
Take the out.
Oh, yeah. Take the
Classic.
Take the first preposition? No. Article?
People are dying to hear about this, Alex. Is it a preposition or an article?
That was not my strongest part of the... Not a preposition. Okay. It's none of those things. Don't worry about it. The first word.
Will not.
Let's call it a word.
I was never worried
Let's
about
call it a word.
It's a word. Let's
Yeah,
call
that
it what
was
it
not
is here,
my
a word.
strong point in English language arts.
Fair enough.
Word types.
So, Alex, this is a person called... What's their name? Taylor. Spelt funny. Dacher.
Taylor
I don't know.
Deacher?
Deacher. There you go. Canadian DJ EDM producer. And this version was called Infectious by Billboard.
Yeah, would you call it infectious? Are you Billboard?
I am Billboard. You know what? A bit catchy, I'll say.
Yeah.
As to why I didn't put it on, because I was aware of it. I had listened to this in the car with Ruby some years ago when it was out on the radio. And I think I just didn't put it on because it was a dance version. I think
we can sometimes ignore dance versions. Or be like, we've already got a dance version. We don't need another one. Which is version. Maybe dismissive, you know? Because there's so many different things within what we would call dance music. So many genres and stuff. But it's just that we just don't know that much about it. Right?
No, that's fair. And we've done versions where we've fucked it up and put on, or at least I fucked it up, and put on like 3 back-to-back dance versions, and they're all pretty similar.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can have both, right? Where you lean too far on either side of the seasoning of dance remixes in a list.
Yeah, definitely.
So this one doesn't talk about beating up Marilyn Manson, so it's automatically an F-.
Yeah, less aggressive. I think in terms of like the feeling it elicits, I think it works pretty well and is similar to the original. Obviously, it's using the original as a basis, so it has that. But part of it is the way it does the music, which is quite different. It's a lot more like synth focused.
Yeah, a lot of emphasis on that chopped up robo voice.
And it kind of has like its dance version. It's got its own sections of it's time to dance. We'll do our little riff thing, you know?
Right.
That I often associate with trop pop, but is not exclusively that.
Yeah, it's definitely in that vein though, right?
Just because, the way it sounds, you know.
Yeah, the tone is very trop pop.
Yeah. And the album artwork.
Oh, yeah. Look at that shit.
I think.
It's like a little sunset.
Small text, sunset. But I think it also evokes the feeling, and we talked about this way back. Yeah, in the original episode, For You Get What You Give, and that is, that song talks about and has a feeling of being about like kind of this time at night when it's very late and like most things are closed. And it's not necessarily much to do, but then you have this restless feeling of needing to do something. So it's like, what do you do? And it's like, be a hooligan kind of thing. And I think that fits in with a lot of the like dance party, because oftentimes these shows are very late at night and go to very early in the morning.
Right. So you play this and it's like, there's nowhere else to be.
Yeah.
But you're
like
here.
And you feel welcomed in the group or whatever.
Yeah. And like the city is asleep except for you and this group of people.
So it feels like this kind of exclusive thing, special thing.
So maybe we should briefly summarize the original, which you just basically did. But it's a 1990s piece. It is about it has to do with like one particularly the verse about running around at 4 a.m. downtown has to do with that like isolated in a big city feeling, but making the most of being alive. There's also concepts of morality brought in here. God's flying in for your trial. To be very basic and dumb, it's a real 90s piece where everything seemed just right except for a few things. And that's like kind of what the song was addressing. Yeah,
and those few things are mostly that parents don't understand.
Parents don't understand, and that. But also there's the idea, because get what you give. He's like, you've got to put in the effort, bro, to make life happen. It's a real carpe diem piece.
Yeah, you have it inside of you, but you need to put in the effort.
Yeah. And you should kick the shit out of Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, and also
Hanson, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Hanson, Marilyn Manson. Beck?
Beck and Hanson.
Yeah.
Something. Marilyn Manson, come around, we'll kick your asses.
Yeah.
Not present in this version.
Do I have the lyrics up? I probably have the lyrics up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
So,
Courtney Love.
Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson. Yeah.
Okay, that's the other one.
Again, not present here.
No.
But what is present here? Hand snaps, baby.
Oh,
so you broke it down into like there's the verse where we're doing the song and then we chorus up into dance mode, right?
Yep. Like that, that kind of stuff. drops down into the verses, gets the singing going on with the like spacey chords, and then
Yeah.
But I mean, it's altered the structure, but it feels pretty seamless. You know,
Yeah.
fits all together. It's very smooth, and there's a bit cut out, but it's maybe not the more important parts, because I mean that bridge where they do talk about Marilyn Manson, Courtney Love, they also like list stuff about like health insurance and
FDA,
the
big bankers buying, cloning while you're multiplying.
big money and like all that stuff. That were kind of modern issues in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
But or whenever, you know.
I think it was
around that time.
96 when it came out, but yeah.
Was it?
Oh
my gosh, I thought it was later. 98.
Was it 98?
On Genius.
Okay, well,
anyway, in the late 90s, to be vague,
in the late 90s.
but wouldn't make sense in a feel-good dance track in 2017.
Yeah, exactly. They really cut out what's not useful to them and keep the remainder. You're right, 1998. So yeah, this is the issues of the time, and they decided to, but they even leave in that God's coming in for your trial line, which is like a bit of like fat they probably couldn't cut off because they're like, well, we're using this verse about being up at 4 a.m.
True, and that kind of works with the feeling I got from the song.
Yeah, and I mean, for a dance track, people aren't listening to that line.
No, but it does. I mean, you can still talk about like there's still some aspect of like social class struggle.
Oh yeah,
and the bad rich God's flying in for your trial. It does. I think it fits.
Fair, sure, I'll allow it. What I like about the vocals here is that they Billy Joel their echoes. On the original, it's like, you cannot see the light. And then on backing, I goes, light. Whereas this one, it's like, you cannot see the light. They're doing their own.
Do your own vocals. Do your own vocal echoes, I should say.
Yeah, be your own backing vocals.
That's the way to do it, man.
That is the way to do it. Yeah, would I say, am I Billboard, Alex? Do I think this is infectious? A bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a nice little melody to it. And then, like you mentioned, the chopped up bit, you can... Yeah,
that's the real dance hook. So when they do the chorus, it's first just piano and vocals and like some bass hits being like, don't let go, you got the music in you. And then we start to hear the like
Canadian.
tortured fairy robot come in.
Tortured fairy robot, yeah.
And then the drum beat that comes in there is like a steel drum synth, like it's very trop bop.
Yeah, that's really that trop feeling.
Or like
Big sweeps
xylophone or
and-
something, some kind of like vibraphone, like.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely, I mean, there's also, you know, those drums, they're like metal, and they're kind of like, they're like a turtle shell shape, and
Yeah.
like each shell segment is like a different, it's tuned to a different note kind of thing, and you just doom, doom, doom. So, you know, it's that kind of a sound.
Right.
I don't know if it's anything specific.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you for sure. So we break down again for the verse. It comes back to that sort of like laid back arrangement. It's a fairly pop structure here. So the second time around on the chorus, I think we go bigger. We get a little dance break around. Actually, we get a nice like breakdown at like 2:20, where things get kind of filtered back. And then we do another build. We get some hand claps in the back. The screaming tortured robot fairy comes back.
Who's the scream? Oh, in the background, okay. I was like, what are you talking about? What is a screaming tortured robot fairy? Okay, I found it. I hear it.
I like that screaming tortured robot fairy. Anytime they use it in songs, I'm pretty much instantly sold on it. I'm like,
Screaming
fuck
tortured
yeah.
robot fairy.
What if we just tortured a robotic fairy for pleasure?
They're robots, so you can do that.
You can do that. They don't actually feel.
We just programmed them to feel pain. They don't actually feel pain.
But yeah, that's this one in a nutshell. We get some ahs in the back near the end. We break down and we get like it ends on just like your kind of quiet stuff. It's pretty classic for 2017, I think.
That makes sense to me, but I wasn't alive yet in 2017.
That's true, Alex. Speaking of robot fairies.
I was cloned in 2018.
That's right. By the FDA.
Yeah.
Alex, there's a music video for this too.
There is a music video for this one.
It's about young love.
It is about young love. It seems to be... I don't know. I feel like this song has more complex themes than just a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's a bit... I don't know. I didn't...
Well, you're talking about the dancification of this song in music video form as well.
I guess...
Music form.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Simplification.
Yeah, it's simplified. And then, but there's also strange
De-evolution.
elements. So it's the Devo concept, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, this is acceptable because it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. God damn, Devo has changed my fucking life. Just their whole idea, I'm like, everywhere I go, I see it. I'm like, fuck, Devo was right. Like, how do I live knowing that? The guys who made Whip It are like, well, it's all there. It's all going to shit. I'm like, that can't be real Devo. It is, but that
Mark,
said,
why Mark?
why Mark?
You're tearing me apart. Yeah.
But that said, I think this is a pretty good production music video. I think there's some good elements here.
Yeah.
Some of it's a little cliche, maybe. Some of it's also just
lighting?
confusing. The lighting. So it starts at a house party. We get the title, very cinematic. It's like Felix Cartal presents Get What You Give. And this dude is at this house party getting a beer from a guy with tattoos on his face and neck. That's what we see of him.
Yeah.
He gives him the beer and he drinks it and spits it out because he's just like, whoa, that tastes bad. Oh, I guess he spits on the guy.
Yeah.
That's why he gets punched. And so then he returns to the main party room, and that's where the music starts, and we really take off.
People are looking at him. He's got a black eye and some blood on his nose. I thought maybe at first I was impatient, so I skipped over the punch. So I was like, oh, his nose is bleeding because he's a horny anime character. But no. Not even
He's
a little bit.
Just a horny regular guy. So he
like,
makes eye contact with his love interest, the female. The only female at this party, let's be clear.
That I can see, yeah.
That I can see. And so as far as we know, no other women here.
Oh, wait, no, in the background. Go to 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to 30 seconds,
I definitely
Alex.
see a tank top. It's a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? I see it.
So there are 2 women at this party.
2 women.
Score.
And you know what? That woman is talking to another woman. We're at 3 women.
Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. Did we just...
Did we just perform women erasure by not seeing women in the background? Yes, Alex. Are we canceled? Absolutely.
Well, pack it up. Let's go home.
Go home.
I'm
folks.
already home.
You're already home. You made it. So they make eyes at each other, and
Yeah.
then we fucking shoot. Smash cut to her in her foot bath in her plant-infested room.
She's got a lot of plants. She's got a small bed.
And
plants. A little basin for her feet.
Feet basin. The moon is out.
And then the moon is out? I didn't see the moon.
She looks out the window. The moon's out there.
Oh, damn. The moon is outside.
Cut to then the dude. He's eating cereal. He loves Alien. We know because he's got an Alien poster on his wall.
Yeah.
He also likes plants. He doesn't love plants. He's got a couple plants. 3 plants I see in the shot. He's not wearing a shirt. She's not wearing pants. The perfect couple.
Yeah, it kind of cuts back and forth between them and their apartments.
Yeah.
And then...
There's a little ship in his cereal.
There is a little ship in his cereal. Is it a relationship?
Hey, Alex. Must be, because who comes a knocking at his door but her?
But unnamed woman.
Yeah, she comes, he opens the door. He's wearing a shirt that says the end is near.
She looks like her bangs are wet, but the rest of her
bangs
hair is
are
not.
wet.
Why? I don't know.
And then, boom, once we hit that synth, it's just shots. She's dancing. They're hanging off the fences, bicycling. They're hanging out on a dock. They're in a car together. He's sleeping on her.
They're doing romantic movie
They are
stuff.
romming and calming.
Some calm.
Calm. Yeah, she did a little cheeky face there. We got flowers. Boom, of course, plants.
They're doing cute relationship stuff.
He's wearing glasses. She takes the glasses off of him.
What? He can't see.
He can't see. She puts him in a meditative pose, and that gives him the ability to shoot lasers. We see an explosion. They're on the bed. Eventually we get shots of him like super large looking through her apartment window, and then it turns out he's in her terrarium. Like there's a lot of just like woo trippy stuff going on. So like fun shots. An otherwise pretty basic love story. The big twist here being
after that she kisses him and he's like, what? So it's like, wait, they weren't in a relationship before?
Yeah, it's like
that
what
point?
order are we seeing things in here? Maybe we're supposed to look at the costumes as well, because there's a shot of them speaking into tin cans, and she's, I think, got her wet bangs from that first shot where they.
Oh,
but
so
he's
it's
wearing
not
a different
perfectly
shirt. Then
chronological.
it's not perfectly. This is Pulp Fiction, Alex.
He's also a painter.
Yeah. Also, floating apples.
Floating
Think about
apples?
that.
Maybe he's painting the apples. So he's
Maybe. I think you
making
can
them
see the
real.
apples on his shot, on his canvas rather.
okay. There's another bit that
Mhm.
might. See, I thought it was at Christmas because she's wearing a red sweater and there's little lights. But
And there's the fairy lights. No, that's just poor people's apartments.
that's
Alex.
just fairy lights. But here's a fun story. They're communicating with tin can phones, but his string isn't taut.
Oh, so it wouldn't work.
So it wouldn't work. He can't hear anything.
That's why he's struggling. That's why he fell asleep.
Probably. Her string is taut. But he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. When's she going to talk to me? And she's like, I don't hear anything. And he falls asleep.
So yeah, we get all these beautiful shots. Apples falling from the sky, or no, they're not falling. They're just we get
Floating.
shots of them in beds, thinking.
Camping
And
on a
then-
beach. Off a beach.
Yeah. Him looking in through the window at her sleeping. Then he's in the terrarium, still looking at her sleeping, but he's small now. Before he was large.
So there's a
And
lot of
then-
stuff.
A lot of stuff, and then we cut back to the party, and she
Because,
like touches his
it didn't
head,
happen.
or is going to happen, or has already happened, or will happen,
Or they just imagined it.
or they just imagined it. But she gives him a little kiss.
But yeah, this seems to be like, oh, there's something in their future.
Yeah, because I think when we watched that, like even that start of their relationship, is her kind of like bashfully deciding to knock on his door.
Yeah.
So I feel like it takes place, but the thing is, he also doesn't look beat to shit when they first meet up again. So like clearly, it's not the night after this party where he got punched out for.
but
spitting
it
beer
is
on him.
love at first sight.
It is love at first sight. I don't think we're supposed to pull like, oh, if only. I think it's supposed to be like,
Yeah, I wasn't getting if only, but I was just. My thought was like, it was, I guess, imagined. Not necessarily false, but like,
but
ooh,
yeah.
this is what it could be. And then it's like, oh, now it's starting. Oh, that's where we're going.
Uh-huh.
It's working out. So I didn't get like a negative, like, oh, but actually it didn't happen, and they're really
Yeah, it seemed
sad
like
or
hopeful.
anything
Maybe
like
it's
that.
supposed to be like cheer up, buddy. You got punched out, but you're gonna get the girl.
Yeah, but she kissed your forehead, so that's
Just kissed
cool.
your forehead. So Alex, that's this song. That's the
Yeah, it
music
is.
video. Knowing that, knowing the songs we covered for Get What You Give 100 years ago, would you
Yeah,
call this
remembering
version
them
the best,
exactly?
worst, or weirdest? Does it dethrone anything for you?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think it does for me either, but I do respect it. Pretty good cover. Thank you, Ruby Swan. Next comes a suggestion from Sir Jon Snow on Twitter. Follow him on Noiseberry Games on YouTube.
Yeah.
John Bell said,
Listen
I
to
want to
his
hear a
songs.
version of Your Love by I See Stars in the year 2015.
Hey, before we hit the song here, it turns out I See Stars has two different versions of Your Love. And the version we're talking about is not the one John actually recommended, so whoops. Sorry about that, John. Here's this version for you. Maybe we'll catch the other version on another installment of the Cover Me Backlog. Oops.
And Josie's on a vacation far away. Come around and talk it over.
We're
He
talking
is,
about it.
and here it is. We're going to talk about it. Let me tell you,
Tell me.
this is a group. I See Stars, you said. Apparently, it's their genre is called electronicore.
Electronicore.
That said, I didn't get much electronic from this, or I get that's like hardcore mixed with electronica.
That's metalcore mixed with electronic
metalcore
elements.
mixed with electronica. So like, I didn't get a lot of electronica out of this,
Yeah.
which is fine. You know, they play with genres. It's just one song.
Yeah, I got a lot of like cinematic elements from this. And almost like folk
Would you
elements
say like
too.
post-hardcore, pop-punk, emo, and metalcore?
If that would get these people off my fucking back, I'll say anything. But no, I don't know. I would call this your boomer dad would call this emo music because he heard the word once in 2006, and that sticks with him.
Okay.
And that's a broad umbrella.
It's a bit of that.
It's a bit of that. So it starts out very acoustic. There's a very slow build on this one. It does the kind of like switch up trick about 1.5 minutes in.
Yeah, this is a lot based around the build. So the song itself, Your Love,
About cheating.
about cheating in a relationship, or either attempting to and being rejected, or actually doing it and regretting it.
Yeah, or maybe a
And
bit
being
of
rejected
both of those.
as well,
Yeah.
some combination of those. And sort of trying to justify it to yourself, or the main character tries to justify it
Yeah,
to
where he's
themselves.
like screaming at the other person,
Yeah.
kind of in the end, but like really kind of screaming to himself, being like, "No, it's fine that I did this.
Yeah.
I don't have many friends." You're like, "Okay, bud."
I'm lonely.
Great fucking track. I love this song.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it on the radio not too long ago, and I was like, damn, I forgot how much I like this.
Yeah, it's really fucking catchy.
And I think this is a pretty good cover of it.
Yeah, pretty good. I've got a question right off the bat, though.
Sure.
Does he say, "And Josie's on a vacation far away," or does he say "Aunt Josie"?
I hope he doesn't say aunt. That would be very silly.
Implying he's fucking his aunt. No, like, because I wonder, yeah, and also that'd be crazy. Wouldn't you just say, like, "My mom's on a vacation far away"? I'm wondering if they're trying to imply, like, kind of move away from the cheating and put, like, a teenage love story vibe on this. Because there is a little pop punk energy in here as well.
Yeah, I didn't hear that syllable
It's
when I
there.
listened to it, but it is there. I think he says and.
Right.
Or maybe he's just like, Jess's son
Josie. Yeah, it might be just his, like, warm-up note.
Yeah,
You're right.
He just needs to make a nasal sound.
Right.
But what does the song itself sounds like? Well, it starts very low. You know,
Yeah,
you got
very
slow
low, very
percussion,
gentle.
light piano,
Mhm.
clean guitar. It does a lot of that like reverse note
Yeah.
thing. And like sparse chords.
Yeah. The most
Uh,
gentle drums with, like, a tambourine hit at the dum,
Yeah,
dum.
like slow ballad, and they mash the first two verses together.
Yeah.
So, it is. I mean, that's a fairly poppy thing to do. Double length first verse, or like,
Mhm.
or just don't go into the chorus quite yet. You know, anticipation.
That's right.
So that's cool. And it continues very low. The chorus, I would say, cuts down even lower. You know, drums cut out.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 lines in the chorus, but they actually reversed them. Does that mean anything? Probably not.
Probably not.
And then it starts to build. Most of the build happens in the bridge section.
That's right.
Um,
It's the best we get for build in the verse is like I don't know if that's the guitar or piano that comes in. That
like a little bit, and then some moments where the vocals get doubled.
Yeah.
You
know, I'd do anything for ya.
that line.
That line.
Oh man, I mean, the voice is very much in line with all the genres we've been talking about: pop punk, emo, post-hardcore sound. So if you can't stand that, you can't stand this song.
Yeah.
But I don't mind.
I don't mind it. And so where the song picks up, we got a 1
Yes.
minute 11 seconds in the slow zone here.
Actual like tempo increase in the bridge.
Yeah.
And there's a guitar in the bridge that's like kind of twangy.
Yeah, that's the
Even.
thing is like we almost get like folk/country elements in here, and it's like
Like
what the
briefly,
heck?
it's almost like
Yeah.
like it's moving across the spectrum from like the slower ballad into, and I mean, the end of the build is it's more of that like post-hardcore, I guess, end.
I guess.
Um,
Because yeah, like
and then like
twangy
apparently
guitar,
there's somewhere
mhm.
between point A and point B that is just like a little bit country,
Yeah.
and then they kind of go past that.
And well, those drums too. It's like a real clacker with some cinematic toms behind it.
As they build it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and those
quite
are all like going
strange.
faster and faster and faster.
Yeah, that's a good trick where it starts just going.
Yeah. And then it's at that point, like as he's singing the bridge, gets to the end where you kind of get this split vocal track, because now you have this clean and now unclean vocals, which is the real term. Still not over
Look
that.
it up.
I don't know. I think it's funny, but also it is what.
I'm feeling.
Yeah,
And
so
then
you
we just
got
get-
one track of each at the same time, and then when you move into the next verse is when he's actually doing the like screaming.
Yeah, it's full on like pop punk.
Yeah, which I think like does a pretty good job of following the arc of the song, because the song is him just trying to like justify this to himself and talking about it, and he really by the end is fairly unhinged.
Yeah, just because you're right, that don't mean I'm wrong is a key
Yeah.
line, and yeah, he's screaming that. So yeah, it moves from that tender like, "Hey, come on over, Aunt Josie's not here," and then yeah, flips through the bridge. The bridge does a great idea of that like rising tension, where everything starts speeding up. So like in terms of the dynamics on this cover, it is actually pretty strong.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. I also kind of once they get into that verse, they're kind of at the level of the start of the original. So that was kind of cool. So like they start very low, but then they build to the original and then kind of get intense.
Yeah. And you have the return of these big toms too, and like clangy cymbals on the drums. It's not what I expected from the genres they were pulling from, the sort of genre feel.
No,
they seem
yeah,
to
I
lay
mean,
in.
I don't know much about metalcore,
But I understand that it's metal at its core.
but there's not much metal in here to my ears or
No.
electronica. So I don't know about genre. Maybe it's meaningless, but there's definitely some elements of the other things listed in this track, and I think they're used pretty effectively.
Yeah. Now, Alex, it fades out, does a little guitar arpeggio. We get the I don't wanna.
They do.
They do that. Here's a question, Alex. Does this steal the throne for any of the versions we talked about on that episode?
See, I should have
You should have looked up. Yeah, no, I understand.
'cause I
Alex.
didn't. I think it would be in the running. I think
It would be in the running. Yeah, I think it's got some,
I quite
some
enjoyed
strong
this version.
vibes here. So, Alex, for your information, the version you picked was by the Butchies. It's
Oh,
called.
yeah.
What is it? I don't remember even talking about it. Oh, it's like a kind of similar to this.
Oh,
Real tender. It's
but
like
it
if we
stays low.
stayed low.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. I really do think it would be in the running against that.
That's
yeah.
fair. Mine was a little bit of like just a straight pop punk version. But yeah, I
Oh.
think if we had talked about this during it, mine was by I think Saw Loser. No, Less Than Jake, and it's a 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Oh, the quick one. Yeah.
Yeah, which definitely speaks to my my instincts. Maybe still more than this, but yeah, solid version. Good recommendation, John.
Yeah.
This next one comes recommended by me. And not even because I think it's a good version, just because it came out the week after we talked about this song, and that pissed me off. So this is Heart of Glass by Miley Cyrus in 2020.
Heart of Glass.
Heart of Glass. This is from the iHeart Music Festival, I believe.
Yeah. iHeart.
Yeah.
Like, I guess Apple does it? Because it's like a
Maybe.
lowercase I? I don't know.
Yeah. There's a point where the I became kind of just like synonymous with an era, I think.
True,
even more
it
than
could-
just Apple.
Just be made up. Or like not have anything to do with plastic hearts.
So this is Miley Cyrus doing karaoke live on stage, is how I feel.
Karaoke. This is really close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The big difference here is she's shouting.
She's pretending to be Joan Jett.
Is that what it is?
I don't know if that's like her full-on intention, but I feel like that's who she's drawing on.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, just like comparing it to the original, which the original by Blondie, which we should maybe talk about.
Let's
It's
talk
very
about that.
like
The disco song,
soft,
as it was
right?
first
Yeah, it's
known.
the disco song. The distinctive part being like the intro
Yeah.
on the drums, which they kind of do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, of course, the other part is that distinctive, like, synth loop.
yeah, they have what sounds like a sample of the original because it sounds exactly tick, 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 the beat. And the song itself. Yeah, I mean the story is right there. Once had a love and thought it was good, but it wasn't.
It wasn't, yeah.
There was mistrust and there was bad things, and I was blind and it didn't
As blinded
work
by
out
love
well.
turned out to be a bad thing. Sometimes the lyric is it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a person who was out of a romantic relationship and is like, I'm glad to be out of it, kind of. Like, one time I did that, probably not doing it again, let me tell you.
Yeah. And the way Debbie Harry sings it in the original is like did I say this? Very soft.
Very soft,
like
very
laid back.
spacey.
And it was a
kiss.
Soon
turn out, I had a heart and glass.
So like, and then there's parts of the song that are like so soft, like they almost you lose them. Like like there's a line riding high on love's true bluish light that like I never knew. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, like stuff. So it's a very different delivery.
Yeah, it's very like dreamy
Compared to,
overall.
Miss Miley Cyrus.
Miss Miley Cyrus.
Ms. Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, she's giving this her all as like a hard rock performance.
Which, yeah, and she does a good job.
Yeah, it's
She can sing.
like technically fine.
And
But
I definitely get why you'd be more on the aggressive, angry side if this was the situation you were in.
Right, and she uses the pain in the ass line because she's like, check that out.
Yeah, she digs into that. So, like, I believe that Miley Cyrus can perform this song after seeing this.
Sure,
'Cause
yeah.
She performs it for 100%. But there's not much else not much else going on here. It's kind of like
And
when
it-
you talk about, like, Spotify singles,
Yeah.
where it's like,
just like
it doesn't seem like there was a ton of thought necessarily that went into this.
exactly. She's
just
like,
kinda
what if I
come with the song.
Joan Jett this as hard as I can and maybe that'll be
Yeah.
enough to make a compelling cover? And the answer is no. It's
Yeah,
not
really.
that compelling beyond that. Like, it's fine. And if I heard her do it live at iHeart Festival, of course, I'd be like,
Cool.
oh, cool.
But yeah.
But yeah,
There's a
ultimately,
more
pretty
intense
boring.
version.
Yeah, and I don't think it. Let's see if it beats out the worst version that we talked about. Oh, it was acoustic duo. Oh, this is tough. Ooh, no, I think Jess and Matt might still be worse.
Is that who I had for worse as well?
I would be willing to bet, Alex.
Yeah.
But that's that. Miley Cyrus, let's talk about Dizzy in the year 2020 doing This Must Be the Place.
I've got plenty of time. There's light in your eyes.
Yeah, Dizzy.
Canadian indie pop band from Oshawa, Ontario. Oshawa? It's got to be Oshawa, right?
Don't ask me.
Don't ask Alex.
Oshawa?
Don't ask me
Oshawa.
either.
Yeah,
So they're like a little synthy poppy band. Let's talk about Talking Heads.
Yeah, this must
Oh,
be
and
the
this one
place.
comes recommendation of Greta James. Follow her on Poppy Threads Pop Up on Instagram.
Thank you
Shout
to
out.
Greta James.
Greta James. Dizzy.
Dizzy.
Talking Heads.
Talking
This
Heads.
must be the place.
This must be the place.
Phenomenal love song.
I really like this song.
Me too.
The original song, David Byrne, who wrote it, has said that he was like trying to make a song that wasn't like sarcastic, that was just earnest about being a love song, and like nailed it.
Yeah.
Somehow he's just like, what if I was just honest about things, or like at least sounded honest and wasn't just like, but there's this other thing that makes it, that undermines it, like without undermining himself. And yeah, I really like this song.
Yeah, so you still get this like not straightforward way of thinking that he has, these very strange lines.
That's true. There's some weird line, like talking about like You've got a face with a view, fun
Mhm.
line, things like that, and like just an animal looking for a home, share the same space for a minute or two.
yeah.
That's the next line that
Yeah.
I'm just gonna list the whole song now.
You could list the whole song, but it is a very unusual love
Yeah.
song while
Cool
still
lines
being
that just
genuine.
feel very neat and like cozy.
And backed by some of the most just like, cozy synth and simple melodies you can put, naive melodies even.
Yeah.
And it's, beautiful song. Just beautiful. So when any cover comes up here, it's tough. I gave this to Sean Colvin when we were doing the initial one because it was a very like tender piece. And that seems to be the real approach that works here. And I think what Dizzy does here is similar to what Sean Colvin does, but in a more modern, kind of soft, synthy context.
Yeah, they've really got the like warm feeling down. This is something they recorded over like COVID lockdown times, so it's the like Basement Covers album. Which is that a Dylan reference? Basement tapes? I don't know, but they also literally recorded these covers in their basement, probably.
Yeah, so it could be a coincidence.
So could be a coincidence. Like it's just a description of what it is. But yeah, it does feel more modern in that like it's kind of like synthy and there's more of that like spacey ambient stuff. And it's very like lo-fi sounding, but in like the deliberate lo-fi way of modern recording.
Yeah, deliberate lo-fi, real focus
Tape
on ambiance.
echoes. The vocals
tape
are very soft and
echoes.
quiet, close mic, although they do get a little more involved as it goes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that sounds and a lot of those kinds of sounds in, and even like one like synth that's kind of random sounding. That comes in the second chorus, kind of doing a, it's
a
random.
Real, like,
I make
it is
random
random.
sounds.
It like starts out empty, this track, with just like an ambient synth sustain,
It fills up,
and then it starts filling in with these different elements. You get a little bit of guitar, and then we get a little bit of like drum click-a-clacking. It's very sticky drums on this when it comes
mostly
in.
just sticks until like the second verse.
Mm-hmm. And you do get your doubling on vocals and things like that. It's a very like ambient piece that just ups the amount of space we're filling as we go on.
Yeah, it's an effective, like, we always talk about builds in songs, and like I was trying to think of like analyze my own mind of like, how would I judge a build I liked versus one I didn't like. But I feel like it's not inherently good or bad on its own.
Right, it's just a technique, right?
It's just
it's
like
how you use
make
it.
a build, and like if it serves the rest of the song, then it's positive, and if it doesn't, then it's negative. And that's very dependent on context.
For sure.
So I came up empty-handed somewhat, but I don't feel bad about it.
That's fair. No, I think it works here because like it's never anything like that commands the space. This is one that is like a soundscape, right? So things come in, you notice them, and then they just become part of the atmosphere. What else is going on in this one? A little scratchy synths. They got harmonies at times. I like when she does the "hit me on the head" line, and then things just go like out, like it's like an instrumental break.
That is cool. That's a cool effect. Yeah, she also, like, the way she pronounces the lines changed up a bit. Like it's not exactly the same melody, which definitely is something that pops up every once in a while. And it's not a song, like, the way he sings the melody in the original version is not like so like iconic or strong as a melody or anything.
Yeah,
except for some
absolutely.
parts to me, but you can definitely, like, there's room to shift that around.
Yeah, for sure. That said, the toughest part about this version and every version we talked about is that the original is just like untouchable in my eyes, in my ears.
Yeah.
And this genre of music is a little played out for me.
This like spacey,
the spacey,
lo-fi
soft spoken, like
stuff. Yeah, I tend to agree. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure that I would have given like best cover to probably the live version by Talking Heads from Stop Making Sense.
Right.
So yeah, like I'm sorry, you don't have a chance against that.
No, that's for
Not
sure.
Not in my mind.
But
So-
you actually gave it to Sure.
Oh, well, fuck me.
Because I don't think we talked about the live version.
Oh, well, I would have if I had the chance. I don't remember. Sure.
Oh, Sure's real bouncy. They're much more energetic, kind of in line with like other bands you like Wolfpack and shit, I would say.
Cool.
Just at a glance. Not as funk focused, but a little bit of that in there.
Oh, yeah, I actually do. I think I remember these guys.
Hey, yeah. But yeah, for me, this one it's not the worst version. I think it is solidly built for what it is. It's just not my cup of tea, ultimately.
Yeah.
And I think, just given my own attachment to the song, like I can't maybe fairly judge this. But there is a music video we can fairly judge. It's pretty easy to talk about, Alex, because it's not all that complex.
Yeah, I mean, it was filmed presumably in like mid 2020 or early 2020 even.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows their basement and also some scenic shots of
Them
Eastern
on like
Canada?
a road
I
trip,
assume.
and I'm assuming Eastern Canada, could be somewhere else. My favorite part of this video is the bass player with the cat on his shoulders.
I kind of skimmed this one, I'll be honest with you.
That's fair.
I missed the bass player with the cat on his shoulder.
Yeah, well, there's a few shots of it because they have the shots of them just playing instruments. And also the piano player playing this white piano out in fucking space. Not in space, but just like out in public on like a beach.
Piano out in space. Yeah, that's fun. And there's like stuff painted on the piano. It's like an
Yeah.
with like dancing figures. There's like a border around it, I guess, to make it look like film.
Yeah, so it is supposed to play on this like nostalgia idea as well, I think. It's like, and maybe particularly in the pandemic that hits a little harder. Like, we're still in the pandemic, obviously, but
Yeah.
like the heat of it.
But like when everything was closed, and
Mm-hmm.
we're like, will we ever see our friends again?
Yeah, will we ever go to a beach? My God.
Or go to a very cold-looking beach because of the filters they've put on.
Because of the
and also
filter,
it's Eastern
yeah.
Canada.
So yeah, it's just
Like
cold anyway.
spring.
Shout out Eastern Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's this music video. I don't think we need to waste too much time on it, Alex,
Yeah, it's a lot of like vacation shots, but not actually.
because we got to talk about
We do.
a song recommended again by Ruby Swan. Follow her on YouTube, Ruby Swan Music. Might be Ruby
I
Swan
do not
Music.
know how we missed this one the first time.
Running Up That Hill. It's because I listened to it and said, nah, it's fucking boring.
Oh.
Didn't put it on the playlist. 2003. This is a British rock band formed in London in 1994.
Placebo.
And Placebo. This featured in the first episode of season 4 of the popular teen drama The OC.
And if I only could make a deal with God and get him to swap our places, be running up that road, be running up that hill.
The OC.
Yeah, buddy.
Placebo. Placebo's actually apparently quite popular, or at least they've had some big hits.
Yeah, they sure have.
They've been around for a long time. They were sort of like the same time period as like Britpop, but they weren't that. So they were kind of almost like an anti-Britpop thing. I'm sure it wasn't that big a deal to them, but I did hear a quote from, I think, the lead singer said something about like some of their old hits that he doesn't like anymore. He's like, but at least it wasn't as bad as anything that Oasis ever wrote.
Oh!
That's
the quote that tore Oasis apart.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were kind of positioned, at least in some people's eyes,
Right, as like
as
alternative pop.
opposition to that
Yeah.
popular movement.
Okay, I buy that.
They also did a song with David Bowie, so that's cool. And
Hey.
performed at his 50th birthday concert celebration.
Nice.
So he endorsed them, so that's a pretty big endorsement.
Pretty big endorsement. Of course, they're covering Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill,
Yes.
which is Freaky Friday, the song, basically.
Yeah. And there's all like it's a body swapping song.
Yeah.
But it's also about, it's not just like body swapping, it's like two people in a relationship swapping bodies, and that idea is they will understand each other more
Yeah,
We'll come closer together.
Exactly. Experience
because of
each
that.
other's pains and fears and misgivings, the things they're not telling each other that turn out to be hurting each other.
And lives. They'll experience each other's lives.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of fits in, like, again, I don't know Placebo very well, I'll admit, but I did look them up. And they have some, like, androgyny stuff going on that I think fits in with some of the themes of this song.
Yeah, and I think with their video as well, which we might as well just talk about that now, it's close-ups of a whole bunch of different people lip-syncing the song, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very obviously 2003, just because of the hairstyles.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it.
That's kind of the video. It's not that exciting. It feels like they maybe needed another element in there to some footage to cut between those slides of people lip-syncing. But
yeah, just a bunch of different shots. There's a person on a bed. There's a person against a fence. I wonder if they just got people to send those in or something.
Yeah, that feels like a 2003 thing to do. Like, here.
Like, upload it to our website, our MySpace. Do they have MySpace in 03?
VHS in the mail. 03, yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah, and this is the guy with the fedora that was early.
Yeah.
I think early enough that the idea of wearing a fedora / trilby hat was not as tainted as it is
it was
now.
not cringe, as the kids say.
As they have said.
They've said it. I've said it just now. I'll say this, Alex. Hey, it's running up that hill.
It is running up that hill. Slow, kind of edgy version.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like space filling fuzz sounds in the background, and I think like the synthesizers, comparing this to the original, this one they sound a lot more like mechanical, a little colder, whereas the original had this like electric warmth to it. Maybe just because it's built around a sample or something, but
could be. But yeah, like even right off the bat, that synth you get is like and is very like icy and cold and feels like you said, like something machine based.
Yeah, so it kind of maybe focuses a little bit more on like the isolation and the inspiration for thinking like, I want to swap places with this person so we don't feel as isolated.
Yeah. And like even his lyrics are very like his singing style is very emotionally detached. It's very monotone. It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to see the bullet lines?
Yeah, it definitely feels a little more monotone. There's also some like words in the background. I don't necessarily know what they say, but there's a lot of like echoey whispers and things.
I think they
like
are
that.
just talking about running up that hill. There's like a really low, crunchy one that does it.
Yeah.
And it is just saying like running up that hill.
Okay.
Running up that building.
I like couldn't work out.
Yeah, it was tough to work it out, but it is there. But yeah, very tense in the verse too. We've just got this like almost heartbeat drum. And his vocals, it's very like uneasy.
And like, yeah,
and heavy piano too. Like heavy in terms of like
builds a bit.
Builds a bit. We do get a little build. That
you mean when they hit the piano?
Yeah, it has like the way it affects. It feels like a weighted key, right?
Yeah, and like maybe a bit further away, so it's not as loud. But it definitely sounds like it was struck.
Yeah, and if not like Linkin Park inspired, then like Linkin Park contemporary, because we're in that era, right?
We are in that era.
Yeah, that voice comes in and goes, be running up that hill.
And then we hit the build on this is slow because we just get like a guitar and piano more fully in the chorus. What else? On Beyond Fuzz comes in a little more, I think, after the chorus too.
Oh yeah,
you mentioned that
they
fuzz
feel that
emphasis
space.
is
They fill that space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
and
like it focuses on the
one.
discordant like vibe of where you are when you want to make this deal with God, rather than the sales pitch of being like, it'll be so fucking good.
And it'll be super cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good approach. Clearly some thought was put into it.
Yeah.
Or it's an honest expression of how they felt about the idea.
Yeah. There's a really video gamey synth that comes in on verse 2.
Really?
Yeah, kind of
Verse
lower.
2,
It's
eh?
got a like old school video game vibe to it.
Do you have a timestamp?
Go like 133. It's in there. It's pretty low. It's like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But it's not like out of place or anything. But yeah,
No.
it's very like simple wave kind of situation.
Yeah, and building on that like inhuman aspect that you were talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, buzzing builds. We get some extra crunch. We get an instrumental bridge. That's really the tone on this, though, is that kind of like smoldering, distorted devastation.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it based on what I know about this group, it kind of fits in with their
Fits in
thing.
with their whole vibe. Yeah,
So-
I buy that.
Yeah, I thought it worked.
Yeah, good job to them. Next one comes to us from a Twitter user at BrinFD. And the recommendation was Fly Me to the Moon, Bobby Womack in 1969.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars.
Alex, you know about Bobby Womack?
Not much.
I know him as
from-
like a Gorillaz collaborator.
Yeah, he's on Stilo?
Yeah, Stylo.
Stilo.
And I think
Not a
another
French
track
word.
of theirs, Cloud of Unknowing off that same album. He's done a few tracks with them. We just talked about, or are going to talk about, depending on how I release these, the family man himself, Screamin' Jay Hawkins,
Right.
who has 57 to 75 kids. Another one with a weird history here is Bobby Womack. So he's an American singer, songwriter, musician, record producer, and Sam Cooke's backing guitarist. What a wonderful world. He attempted to marry Sam Cooke's widow 77 days after Cooke passed away. And he was wearing Sam Cooke's suit when he did it.
Okay, maybe you thought that would help.
The only reason it didn't go through was because he was under the age of 21 and did not have permission from his parents to get married.
That's funny, actually.
Beautiful voice on this man, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sort of
sounds
whip
good.
us around here. But so we're talking about Fly Me to the Moon. Originally written by, I forgot his name.
Oh my gosh, I did too.
And he
Made famous by, or not made famous by, but probably the most popular version nowadays, Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, yeah.
But
other words,
he recorded
written
it
by-
like
yeah.
several decades after it actually was released, kind of thing, or
That's
like
right.
first recorded, I should say.
Yeah, because it initially got play as a cabaret track, because Bart Howard, the writer of it, wrote it in 1954 and like gave it out to these cabaret bars he was playing at.
Called
'cause he
In
was
Other
the
Words
pianist
at the
there.
time,
In Other
right?
Words. Yes. I don't think we mentioned this in the original episode, but I will point it out now. Bart Howard was a gay man, and this was written for his lover at the time, so it's a little
I
bit.
think we did mention that in the episode.
Maybe we did. Well, we've mentioned it again. So get fucked.
Yeah. No. We should.
Yeah. No. It's a cool guy. Yeah. I like that you brought up that it's actually called In Other Words, because I think the spacing on this version, Bobby Womack really punches the phrase "in other words." He really gives each phrase the time to land, but the way he hits "in other words" lets us know that is actually like the hook line and not "fly me to the moon," which is only said once, right?
Yeah, and I remember when we were talking about it, you could see the progression of the versions being called like "In Other Words" and being called "In Other Words" brackets "Fly Me to the Moon" or something like
and
that.
then like "fly me to the moon"
"Fly Me to
brackets
the
"in
Moon"
other words.
brackets "In Other Words," and then eventually just "Fly Me to the Moon"
Yeah.
as like "Fly Me to the Moon" took over as the title. But both lines are significant. Probably "In Other Words" is the original title, obviously. So even if the title it was released under was "Fly Me to the Moon," like could have just been marketing, right?
It could have been, yeah, just because that's the song. That's what we talked about then too. Is like that's what people knew was the first line. And this album, Bobby Womack's debut album, is called "Fly Me to the Moon."
Yeah.
And this is the starting track. And I gotta say, what a fucking banger!
It's a good take on it.
Yeah.
Feels a little. Would you call this rhythm and blues?
I would call this. Listen, if Van Morrison was screaming at me, and a young Van Morrison when he was still cool, to play some rhythm and blues music, I would put this on confidently.
Yeah, because I could definitely, honestly, hear Van Morrison do a cover of this version specifically.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm just always not sure because I don't know the genre very well.
Fair enough. Right down to that guitar intro though. That
Yeah, and the tone on the guitar. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's 2 minutes 8 seconds. I feel like this is jam packed with like good stuff.
It is quite short, and it has that. I mean, I guess the blues side of it, but like you mentioned, there's a lot of space to the lines, and it's not like the other ones where it's like he does wait between lines, and even screams at one point, right? We like you just said, we talked about Screaming Jay Hawkins, and he's still screaming. I guess this is 15 years later, so
yeah. But yeah, this is because he doesn't even do the full line off time. He goes fly, and then we get the horns up. Fly me to the moon.
Yeah, but I definitely like when we get a cover like this. I'm like, well, I tend to like this style, sort of older. You know, this is late 60s to mid 70s, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm enjoying it, but like, is there anything else I can like point out? Like, is there something that stands out about it, or would to the average person? Average? Sorry, I said
the
that
average
funny.
person.
To the average person.
The average person.
And I don't know, but it stands out to me.
Yeah, I think speaking from this being his debut and from where I know him from, which is near the end of his life, it's funny to hear that he's doing like the same shit like 50 years later, like because he does. He's like, yeah, get out. And that's like the same exact shit he does on these Gorillaz songs.
Guess he's got a signature.
Yeah, he's got his signature.
Yeah. There's a fun moment in the song, and the timestamp I have is 1:33, and where it sounds like there's suddenly a low end for like a couple seconds, and it's just like a bass lick.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when it comes in, it's like boom, 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 and it's like wasn't there before. It's like they turned up the bass just for that part, and then turned back down again.
Like, get that out. It's only one good
amazing
moment on the bass track. They're like, well, we'll bump that up. The rest we're taking out.
But this is definitely like this is a good one to sway to.
Yeah, and I think
really
speaking of the original song, like it has that really like airy, dreamy feel of love. It's very upbeat. And yeah, like he gives every line its due. Like there's not much in terms of lyrics, and he gives every line a bit of space so that you can live in it for a moment. You can think about Jupiter and then Jupiter and Mars because he breaks those up.
Jupiter and
yeah, and yeah, just like
repeating
good punctuation
words
on things, repeating words. I think it is beyond just being, an era of music you like. I think it's pretty solidly built.
All right, that's reassuring to me.
Because when it came in, this one, he's like, hey, yeah, this one should have been on there. I listened to it. I was like, fuck. Like immediately, I was like, God damn it, this is very good. And yeah, I think that bass lick, that like low end moment sounds like they were also trying to get a solo started, and then they're just like, no.
And they cut it out, yeah.
They cut it out. Yeah, beautiful piece. 2 minutes in. There's a fade out that you think is going to pay off on the next track on the album. It does not.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot.
And it happens.
I didn't love the fade out.
No, I would have liked a more definite ending for it. I think that's its biggest flaw.
But, it's 1969. I don't know.
But I'll be honest with you. If anyone I was going to take over best version for an episode, this one would have done it for Fly Me to the Moon.
Did a pretty good job. I don't remember what I gave best.
I gave...
I don't think it was Avocado.
The kind of spooky one. It was...
Jeff Duff.
No, let's see. Fly. Yeah, I think it was Jeff Duff. Yeah, that's what I
might have given it to Jeff Duff.
Yeah, Jeff
That one
Duff.
is quite interesting.
Yeah, kind of Bowie inspired that one. It's neat, but this one I think hits the lovey-dovey vibe in a better way for me.
We didn't give Homer and Jethro number one?
No, of course not. But let me tell you what, Alex. Love can be beautiful, like flying to the moon. It can also hurt.
It sure can.
Twitter user @AlanAbbey suggested we do this one. Love Hurts by Emmylou Harris featuring Graham Parsons in the year 1998.
Love hurts, love scars, love wounds, and marks.
Yeah, these are some big names.
These are big names. They're big country names.
True. Although Graham Parsons was in like the Birds and stuff,
yeah.
and I guess Flying Burrito Brothers. But I guess
think
the other
we've
thing
talked about him before.
we've talked about Graham Parsons. We talked about the Birds.
The phrase "cosmic American music" has come up before.
Yeah, we talked about.
I think "Feel a Whole Lot Better" by the
Yeah.
Birds. And was
Yeah,
that
that's
a
what we
Graham
talked about.
Parsons like Birds song?
That's Birds. It's the Birds.
Well, yeah, it is Birds,
Or they did it.
It
Oh,
is
yeah.
their song. Yeah, I'm
Their
just
song.
because
Hang on.
I don't know if he was
Clark.
always in the Birds, like the whole life cycle.
Yeah, he might have come up. I don't know if he was involved in that song now. I guess I could look at the song itself. No, I don't think he was.
No,
We have talked about the Birds.
but we
though.
have talked about him. He came up either as a cover or for something else. But here we
And-
are talking about him
yeah.
again with.
He's a big deal, although he died at age 26.
Whew,
So that's pretty young.
that is very young.
And duet, like we said, with Emmylou Harris.
That's right.
Also,
Wait,
Big.
the year I've got is 1998. Is that right? He died at 26?
yeah, he died in 73.
So how the fuck did this version come out? This must be much earlier than that then.
I wonder if he recorded a version of this song and then
she,
Emmylou
like,
Harris
grabbed the
just...
sample.
Because really, the song is them harmonizing the whole time.
Right.
So
It is
she
a
could have
duet.
used an existing recording
Yeah.
sung over that.
So yeah, this song originally recorded by the Everly Brothers, written by Boudleaux Bryant.
Ah, yes.
What a name there.
With notable versions by Roy Orbison, Nazareth.
Roy Orbison.
Those are the ones I remember.
It is
Jim
a bit
Capaldi. Cher.
Jim Capaldi, that version fucking rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the reason this version didn't get talked about is because it is the sleepiest fucking country version you can imagine.
Yeah, it's very... I mean, if it was made in the manner which we suspect it was, which
Yes.
I think there's no other explanation if this did happen in 1990.
Yeah.
It is very, very vocal focused, right? And you probably don't want to overshadow a dead guy singing, right?
Right.
So I think that is perhaps what's going on here.
That could well be.
Because then
Alex.
you just don't put you gotta like dial the instrumentation back a bit. But there's a fair amount of focus on those vocals. And I think like we didn't talk about like a duet version of this song, but it kind of
No.
works as duet because love
Because we're hearing both sides.
more
It's
than
Grease.
one, and they're both having, I mean, the same reaction, but they're singing about it with slightly different notes, so they harmonize.
Yeah. But yeah, it's 100% like they're singing in their backyards or in their bedroom, whatever, looking wistfully out the window.
No, I think they're like on Main Street of
Okay,
town in the West, the Wild West. just
Right, it's a
strumming,
showdown.
Yeah, their guitar and like singing to the moon
Oh, okay, they're sitting on a porch. Yeah.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Alright, I'll take
and it's very country. It's like there's like a strumming, an acoustic guitar, and then like some electric guitar comes in, and then a slide guitar too. So the harmonies are very nice, and it's very like got that twangy country thing going on.
Yeah, twangy country. I think the guitar solo is honestly a highlight here. Just because everything else is so down tempo and so like
Yeah, it's melancholy.
it's
I'll say
melancholy. It is a style of country that to me is like what you play in a retirement home for old folks. They're like, here, this will help you guys wind down from bingo. And they're like, well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I really think where the strength lies is the harmony and the vocals. And the rest of it is not as important.
Right. And yeah, I guess her harmonizing with a dead man, like, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Graham Parsons, for dying. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, you get the twangy guitar. Yeah. It's just not for me, dog. I get that there's some like good harmonies going on here. But it's... Hey, they do say stove. So it is an Everly Brothers cover, not a Nazareth cover.
But it would have been before Nazareth? When did Nazareth come
1990? Would have been... Nazareth was like 76, wasn't it?
Well, but he would have recorded it before that.
I see what you're saying, the Graham Parsons part.
Yeah. So I guess you can fudge that a bit. But they didn't. And I think that makes sense, too, because, I mean, a country version I don't think is looking back at a Nazareth version necessarily.
No. It's like, let's remember this Nazareth
like,
song.
remember the Everly Brothers who also sang together so they would have harmonized? Like,
that's right. So this is like...
Let's do that.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, we already got a duet version of this. Two brothers singing about how love hurts.
Yeah.
What's better than that?
What is better than that?
Yeah, that's all I got to say about it. I like the guitar solo. Anything else, Alex?
I don't know. Slide guitar sounds kind of cool.
Slide guitar. Hey, who could say no? That does it for our backlog.
Yeah.
You got to wait. Let's break this down, Alex. Best, worst, and weirdest covers of this episode.
Of this episode?
Yeah, this episode specifically. What's the worst one, Alex? For me, it's Love Hurts. I'm sorry, Alan.
Love Hurts.
I didn't like it.
Probably Miley Cyrus for me.
That's fair.
Just wasn't really doing it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Didn't.
You know what?
much.
I'll do Miley Cyrus too. I feel bad giving it to you. All right,
Graham
Alex,
Parsons can't hurt you.
That's true.
I mean, probably neither can Emmylou Harris.
That's true.
He might know someone though.
He might. Yeah, exactly. Alex, best version. For me, it's Fly Me to the Moon. I think that's pretty clear.
I'm gonna give it to Icy Stars, Your Love. I really liked that version.
I think that's a really solid choice.
Yeah.
Alex, what's the weirdest one though? I'm gonna give it to Icy Stars for the weirdest because it hit me on a slant.
Which one was weird?
There's a lot of strange stuff going on in there.
On a slant. I guess for me, what was weird, like, it's not that the version's that weird. I'm gonna give it to Dizzy for This Must Be the Place, because it had like a weird effect on me. I just like the song so much. I think that I was like really. I think mostly based on the original one. Like I could not sing along to that version, and it was a little unexpected because I mean I think the version's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't often sing along when I don't necessarily like the version that much. But this song it's got power over me, man.
It's a powerful song. Yeah. So Dizzy, weird. Canadian indie pop.
In a way that makes me feel powerless.
That's something to think about, folks. You got a different opinion, similar opinion. I want to send in more versions over the 4 years we've been doing this that we didn't talk about. Hit us up on Twitter. #CoverMePod, @JakeCressy, @SomeAlexWiseGuy. Listeners, comments, questions, concerns, suggestions for future episodes. You can also email those to us at covermepod@gmail.com. And thank you to all you who did submit, recommendations.
Submit.
Alex is still worried about powerless now. Now I've said the word submit. He's all over the place.
Having a crisis.
That's it, folks. Rate us, review us. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcasting app. Tell your friends about us. Tell your enemies about us. Tell Alex about us. Tell us how we did. And that does it for today's episode of Cover Me. And as we always say on Cover Me, go back in time and we'll all listen to the Cover Me backlog.